Well, good morning, dirt bike family. So today we're going to talk about tires, tubes, tubeless, and mousses, and what is the best option for your enduro style dirt bike. And I'm going to tell you what I went with and why. But check this out. Look at that monster. Holy crap. So for the back of this Sherco 300, this is the system I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the tubeless system, which is basically you take this inner bladder that is inside of this lock ring basically, and what that does is this goes inside, you'll see here, goes inside of right here, and as you air up this inner bladder, it pushes pressure on the inside of the tire on the bead to the inside of the wheel, which gives it a sealed surface. But that's all fine and great. A lot of people have problems with puncturing a tire and then they have to drive out, however many miles back to the truck to repair the tire, or they have to carry a plug and a compressor, and that's a pain in the butt. So this Nitro mousse came up with this 5150 half mousse insert. So it's kind of the best of both worlds with the mousse or the mousse balls and the tubeless system, where you can run a super low air pressure for the rocks and the sand. So this mousse itself is the plushy mousse, and this is supposed to give the tire a fill of, I believe, 3 to 4 pounds. And I usually run my dirt bike tires on this particular bike at about 6 to 7, maybe 5, depending on where we're going. So I run them really squishy so it kind of conforms to the rocks and it helps pull me up over. So the new rear tire I'm putting on this bike is actually the exact same tire that came off this bike from the factory. It's the Michelin Enduro medium terrain, and it's kind of a hybrid, but it's really not. It's not really a gummy tire. It's just kind of a medium terrain all around tire. It's got really pliable lugs on it, and I have been super impressed with this tire right here. I've got almost just shy of 42 hours on this tire right here, and it has held up phenomenally. I can't believe how well this tire has held up. It's what's funny is I really don't care for Michelin tires on anything else. I've never had good luck with them, but on this bike, it works really well. I've got a lot of guys that I ride with that put full-blown gummy tires on their bikes, and they're amazing in the rock. They're absolutely incredible on the rocks, but I don't ride on just the rocks. I want to be able to ride on everything. So, rocks, sand, like I said, some of the clay hills we still go up. I still want the rigidity, and I want the sidewall to basically hold me up and not feel like I'm riding on ice. So I'm going back with the Michelin Enduro tire with this rear setup, and then let me show you what I have for the front setup. So this is the factory front tire that came on this Sherco, and it is also a Michelin front tire, and it is a 90/90/21, and I absolutely despise this tire. This is possibly the worst tire I've ever ran on any dirt bike, hands down. So the tire I'm going to go with on the front is this one right here, a Tusk Recon. Right there, 90/100/21. So obviously a little bit taller and quite a bit wider. So they call this one the fatty, but this one is basically, I don't know if they would consider this a hybrid, but it is a soft to medium terrain tire. It has really good tread pattern on it. The lugs are a little stiffer than like a hybrid tire, but they claim that this tire, once it actually breaks in, yeah, see, hybrid right there. So So it's not quite a gummy, it's not quite a medium terrain, it's an in-between. So for 70 bucks, I thought this thing was worth trying out. So in the front, I don't run the tubeless or the mousse. I'm just gonna run just a straight heavy duty tube. I've honestly never had any problems with pinching a tube on the front in anything I've ever ran as far as enduro style on the rocks or anything, because there's just not that much pressure on the front wheel. But this will give it just a little bit more tire between the wheel and the terrain we're going over, so it should help with pinching the tube, and that's kind of what we're trying to eliminate on everything. So you can ride a dirt bike out on a flat rear tire pretty easy. It's not comfortable, but the front, yeah, it's a little harder, but you can do it. But anyhow, let's get after tearing these tires off and get them put on.
I got Lou out in the garage today. He's gonna be supervising and helping, huh, bud? You get your ball? Get your ball. Nah, he just wants loves. Pretty good boy right here.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and break the bead on this tire, get it flopped off this wheel, and I gotta show you the modifications we have to do to the wheel to accept the tubeless system. Shouldn't be too big of a deal, but I've never done this before, so we're gonna learn together. Get yourself one of these tools. These things are awesome. I think this is I think I got this from K&L Supply. Yeah, K&L Tools. Check this out. If you guys are just gonna run tubes, that pesky valve stem right there, trying to get your hands in there. Ugh, gross. Makes it a lot easier to get your mitts down in the hole. Come on. Gonna put my knee up underneath it and get some pressure behind it. Makes it a little easier. Old tube, not gonna use that no more. Okay, I'm gonna get this off, clean the wheel up, show you what the next step is. I've got the wheel cleaned up, and that was a really good time to check the trueness of the wheel and tighten your spokes. And this thing's actually got, surprisingly, a couple spokes that are kind of loose. It's actually quite shocked. So let's go through here and tighten these buggers up and true this wheel up, and then we can maybe put the tire on. Jeez, I'm hard on things apparently. Gosh, guess it can't be nice and new forever, right? Holy cow. So the way I like to do it is I like to go around, snug them all up, and then true the wheel. A lot of guys use torque wrenches. I do not, because I got a kind of a click in my wrist. That's when I know it's just right. Yeah. I'm old, what can I say? I guess I've been feeding the Sherco too many baguettes. roll the old wheel loose on me. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, that one was probably not good. Almost had a Bluetooth spoke right there. Sure. Yeah, we're just gonna keep on going. It's probably fine. Check your spokes, people. It's a little embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. Wow. God, this was a KTM. Probably would have exploded. Sorry, you KTM fans. Sorry, I know you're kind of delicate flowers. Don't get angry. But if you are, leave a comment down below about how angry you are at me. Yowzers. All right, I'll let you know when I'm done. All right, I don't know if you can tell, but I got me a little TIG wire clamped to the old balancing stand. Spin her across there, and it's pretty darn true. I mean, that's pretty straight. That thing's straighter than Elton John, so we're gonna mount a tire, slap her on a bike. First step in this process, they say, is grab yourself a cordless drill. Do it with a hand drill, I don't care. I prefer power tools. 7/16 or 11-ish millimeters if you're not from here. And you come over where the old rim lock was, right here, and then you count 1, 2, 3, 4, which conveniently is the valve stem hole on this wheel, and drill both of those holes to 7/16. That gives you enough room for the high pressure bladder and the rim lock. Copy? Copy. Okay, let's get her drilled up. Hey now. I meant to do that, I promise. I didn't, I'm just not good at it. All right. Clean as a whistle. It's not. I'll scrub it. Gosh. Oh yeah. Looking good. Eat off that thing now. Alrighty then. Here's our rim tape, and apparently they have a new updated procedure of doing this. Instead of just going right down the center and covering the spoke nuts, they want you to go down the center, and then one just to the left of center, and one just to the right of center. So 3 full wraps. So we'll go stick this on there, and then we can put this on. This is a process, all right? My battery's about to die. All right, so I got all of the old tape on there, the 3 layers like they wanted, and it's all cleaned up. Now the good folks over at New Tech Tubeless Systems, they say that they want to take the old Armor All tire shine and spritz on the inside of the, basically the bladder and the inner tube system, and that helps it slide over the wheel for installation. So I'm going to get this thing off of the balancing stand, over on the tire mounting stand and install the lock system bladder. Okay. They say to spray this on there, it makes it slicker and greased out shit. So hopefully that'll help, you know, slide on the wheel for us. I don't know. We'll see. It's definitely slickery. If anything, it'll be shiny. Okie dokie. Insert the lock, it said. Helps flip it over the right orientation. Lock first. Install the nut. And then valve stem into the wheel. Install the knurled nut. What'd you do with it, Lou? Uh-oh. Stop looking, I'll use this one, bud. Put that one on. And then we just go around and pinch the tube. Don't pinch the tube. Squeeze the tube together and bar it over the wheel just like a tire. Sounds simple enough, doesn't it? Yeah, that definitely is slickery. Woo-wee. All right. Okay, it says start at one and work your way around to the other. Like so, so, so. Okay. Trying not to pinch that tube as we go on, because that's a bad day for everybody involved. And let's face it, you all are involved at this point, if you're still watching. All right. I guess that's how it's supposed to look. I don't know. Like I said, we're learning this together. Okay. I think we stick that down inside the tire with the tube, but we have to put the half mousse inside the tire first. So let's do that. All right, so obviously this tire looks wider than what came off of the bike. And the reason of it is I put this tube, inner tube, inside of this tire and aired it up to try to spread the beads apart across on here, because the way they want you to do this is to drop the wheel down inside the tire and flop it inside and then put each individual bead on the tire. So in order to do that, I figured the wider I could make the tire to give me more wiggle room in there, it can't hurt. So the next step is going to be obviously take the inner tube out of the tire, because it's just there to hold the tire open, and install this this half mousse inside of the tire. And we've got to take a bunch of the supplied lube and rub all the way through the tire and all the way across the half mousse, because we don't want it to just come apart from heat and friction. So like I said, we're gonna let the tube out of this tire, lube this up, put it down inside the tire, and put the wheel inside the tire with the supplied plate as a guide. I know that's a lot, but it'll all make sense shortly. This is the supplied nitro cooling gel that they want you to put inside the tire and then around the mousse to keep it from overheating from friction, because friction's never fun. So let's just drop some of this in there. Like that. And then everything I've said, you just rub her on around like so. Is this awkward for anybody else yet? It's a little awkward for me. Anywho, yeah, rub her around. Get lots in there. I don't think anybody ever complained about having too much lube. It's definitely not toothpaste, so I don't think I would eat it. It kind of has a greasy toothpaste consistency. That's possible. Kind of new at this. Like I said, you guys and I are learning together. All right, now I think I want you to apply a liberal amount onto said mousse, just like so. So that's what I'm gonna do. Kinda sticky. Oh. And on the inside, feels good, a lot's better. Hey, stay there. Everything's getting all slickery. Okay, that's one tube down. And I've got a really good friend who kind of turned me on to this system, and he says one tube should be just plenty. Okay, stand the tire up, and you gotta stuff this into the tire, like so. Work our way around. Kind of like that. Huh. Almost like it was meant to go in. Okay. Now I got to make sure I get the orientation and the direction of the tire pointed that way towards the front of the bike. So there's my arrow. Rotor's on this side, so it's got to go on just like that. So here's our little guide plate. You drop down inside the tire like so, and that helps guide the wheel into the tire. And then we stomp the tire or the wheel down into the tire and get it inside the tire, and then we bar the tire onto the wheel. Make sense? I'm a little confused myself. Okay, solid. wasn't all that bad. Huh. That can't be right. That was way too easy. Okay then. Right direction, arrows forward, right hand side, front of the bike. Yep. Okay. I think all that's left is just bar the tire on the wheel and see if it holds air. Okay. So I'm going to start with the sprocket side up. Just like that. That way, when I flip it over, I'm not fighting these alligator teeth off the sprocket. But I've got these bead buddies that go in there that help hold the bead of the tire down. I think those are going to come in super handy. Kind of like so. And then, kind of like that right there. And that'll help hold my bead. Actually, could probably move that. Dang there. Right. Come on, baby. To that. Boy, that'd be something, wouldn't it? Yeah. See? Bar that old girl on. Leave that there. And don't pinch the tube. Whatever you do, never pinch the tube. Try not to rip the bead of the new tire because then it won't seal very darn good. Move that around where it's supposed to be. Little bites. Just little bites. We want little bites. Get that down underneath there, I think. So things are looking good. And then, there we go. Okay, one side down. We'll repeat on the other side. Hopefully this tire is done. Get that bead started at the rim lock. Like so. Ooh, someone's out there running their hot rod diesel pickup. Okay. Now I'm just going to take my time and work my way around without trying to screw nothing up. Story of my life. Try not to screw stuff up. Okay, she's mounted. Now, Let's see what the process is airing this system up for the first time. I'm gonna wipe this down and get all this goop off of it. Jeez. I ripped my rubber glove. Gosh. So the good folks over at NewTek want you to inflate the inner bladder to 120 psi. And what that is doing essentially is that's creating a 360-degree bead lock from the inside. And then you can adjust your air pressure from 0 to whatever you want. So this allows me to run super low pressure without knocking the wheel off the bead, and you don't have to worry about an inner tube. So I'm gonna go ahead, pump this up to 120 psi, and then we're going to torque the rim lock nut to 9 foot-pounds or 12 Newton meter for the folks that don't live here in the States. So let's get that done and put it back on the bike, shall we? And we're gonna go to 120 psi. $120 psi right there on the gauge. Isn't that wild? So it's gonna be funny. People ask you, well, how much air do you run in your bike tire on your dirt bike? I'll be like, oh, 120 psi. Not too much, you know. It'll make them be like, what? What are you talking about, weirdo? Anyways, let's torque this down, clean the wheel off, stick her on the Croissant Crusader. I guess I could have tightened this up with a regular ratchet for a minute. That would have made too much sense. I'm exercising the teeth in my torque wrench. Make sure you do that every spring, summer, fall. Winter, you're all right. Oh. Clickety click. There she is. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put probably 5 pounds of pressure in this tire because right now it's, I mean, look at this. Pretty squatty. It's actually not terrible, but we'll go ahead and throw 5 pounds in it, and that way when I'm out on the trail tomorrow trying this out, I can let some air out of it if I need to. Four. There's 6. We'll start with 6, see how she is, and we'll give her a shot. Well, there you go. Rear tire and rear air system is done. Comes with these, don't mind the mess, fancy little stickers and whatnot, but the only one I want is the one right there that you put next to that one there to remind you which is which. So this is the bladder, 100 psi, 120 psi, and that one adjusts your air pressure for the psi in the tire itself. So easy peasy, right? Okay, next step, I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna pull this front tire off of this here bike, and we're just gonna swap a new tire and tube on, and it should be pretty much run-of-the-mill tire installation, but you never know. Let's see how this new Tusk fatty tire mounts up with the extra thick heavy duty front tube. I hate these things, but they're really nice when you need them. So let's get her pulled off on the stand and get them swap-a-root around. Okay, so I got this thing all mounted up. Figured I wouldn't film it because it's just mounting a regular tire, but look at the size difference in that thing. I mean, it's probably another 1.5 inches taller and probably about 1 inch wider. So the reason I went with this tire is just to give me a little more protection from the tread to the rim. So when I'm in the rocks, Obviously it's got more distance to travel, so it doesn't ding my wheel, if you will. So that's why we did that. What do you think, bud? Come here, Lou. What do you think? You think we should put this on the old Shirkoe? Huh? Yeah, Lou says we need to mount this on the Shirko, see what she looks like. So I'm gonna throw this thing up on the bike and we'll go for a spin and see how we like it. We'll take you along. So stick with us. We're not done yet. I can't even begin to tell you how much better this bike just looks with a proper size front tire on it. I don't understand why they did a 90-90-21 on the front. It's just odd to me. Seems like an awful small front tire. Anywho's, okay, stick with us. Tomorrow morning, we're gonna go do some riding on this bike with the group of guys, and we'll put this tires to the test because we've got sand, but it's been flooding like crazy where we live here in southern Utah the last couple nights. And so the sand is gonna be wet, but it's gonna also make the rocks a little challenging because the wet sand gets on the rocks and it makes them slippery. So should be a good test for these two tires and these systems. So stick with us, we'll see you in the morning. Huh. Well, it turns out I got to get used to this front tire because it just digs and it doesn't come up on top for some reason. I think I have too much air in the tire. Yeah, I just literally turned the camera off. Again, like I said, I think I suck today. Oh, 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 whoa, whoa. You okay?